Good morning. Still working through this cold. It's got me pretty good, but I'm showing up, doing the reading, doing the setting. So hopefully you enjoy this. I do know that I get quite a bit of a boost of energy and just feel good doing this, regardless of, if there's a bunch of people showing up or not. I know that some people are really getting something out of this. I think it's just the community and sitting together and open minds, open hearts. Just want to remind you that I have created a free ebook called Following Your Charm, 30 Intuitive Guidance. And you can download it on my website, and I have a link in the comments. Today I'm also streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And so we'll see how that goes. And the new internet has yet to be hooked up still, so waiting on that to actually, but yeah, check out the chat there. I put the link for my free ebook. Check it out. It's all about meditation, why to do it, the benefits, the pitfalls, and what following your charm means. यतः सर्वनि भूतानि प्रतिपन्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमं यन्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञातं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टदर्शना दृश्यभूः कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया स्म तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सीकरयस्मदनन्दस्य मदेवनो सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Salutations to that reality in which all elements and all the animate and all the inanimate beings shine as if they have an independent existence, and in which they exist for a time and into which they emerge. Salutations to that consciousness which is the source of the apparently distinct threefold divisions of knower, knowledge, and known, seer, sight, and seen, doer, doing, and deed. Salutations to that bliss absolute, the ocean of bliss, which is the life of all beings whose happiness and unfoldment are derived from the shower of spray from that ocean of bliss. Om. Peace, peace, peace to all. One of my favorite quotes, and I'm not sure if I'm quoting it exactly or not, but it's something like, I think it's in the Tao, or the Tao Te Ching, and it's the great way is not difficult for those who have no preference. The great way is not difficult, is not far for those who have no preference. That's a pretty big one to chew on. In Buddhism, they have the Four Noble Truths, and it's like, you know, how I actually see it is the Four Noble Truths have no place for someone who as to what the first truth is. So the first truth is often translated as why is there suffering? But to me, unless I'm experiencing suffering, yeah, they wouldn't ask a question, right? It's like there is suffering in life, it's usually translated to, or there is suffering, or life is suffering. But unless there's, you know, pain and some suffering that we're going through, we wouldn't ask that question. So first, there must be a ripeness in the student or the practitioner, in their mind and their heart. And the ripeness is that yearning and that questioning and suffering. And the suffering is caused by, you could say, desire, you could say preference, um, chasing after that which you find attractive and avoiding that which you find less desirable. So the great way is not difficult for those who have preference. This craving and aversion, it affects us all. It's a human thing. Meditation really helps. So the first book on today's 3-part book reading is The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. Let's see how well I can read it here. Take triggers because your wounds need your attention. Triggers are not random. They are showing you where you are either most wounded or primed for growth. If we can see these triggers as signals that are trying to help us put our attention towards some part of our lives that need healing, health, and progress, we can begin to see them as helpful instead of hurtful. Yeah. Some parts of these books, you could just read one sentence and just sit with it for a day, a week, a month. Even that first sentence, triggers are not random. They are showing you where you are either most wounded or primed for growth. You cannot ignore your problems. You cannot disregard your wounds. These are issues that you will need to unpack, process, learn from, and adapt your behavior accordingly. This won't only make you mentally stronger, it will also give you a better quality of life overall. Honor your discomfort because it's trying to tell you something. The greatest gift that life will hand you is discomfort. Discomfort is not trying to punish you. It is just trying to show you where you are capable of more, deserving of better, able to change, or meant for greater than you have right now. In almost every case, it is simply informing you that there is more out there for you and it's pushing you to go pursue it. In yoga, you have this word in Sanskrit, it's called tapasya. Tapasya is like discomfort or the pain or um, the fire, the heat that burns when doing practice, right? When you're working out, there's resistance and it gets hot and it gets hard, but there's benefit. When you're learning something new, often, the brain feels like, oh, I can't do this. You get sleepy, you get tired, you get, maybe a bit of a headache. And this is often showing that we're learning something. Instead of trying to pacify this discomfort, mental strength requires that you listen, learn, and begin to change your course. If you can begin to see your life as a feedback mechanism that is reflecting who you are with the ultimate goal to help you live a better and more better and to live better and more fully, all of a sudden you realize that it was never the world standing in your way, but your own mind. Yeah. Make reminds me, I've read this a few times and heard people say it, it's like, make your mind your friend, make your life your friend. So easy to stand at odds with those around us, with our own thoughts, with our own habits, their own mind, our own heart. You begin to see your life as a feedback mechanism that is reflecting who you are with the ultimate goal to help you live better and more fully. All of a sudden, you realize that it was never the world standing in your way, but how to truly enjoy your life. If you were to ask, many people would undoubtedly agree that they believe the purpose of life is to enjoy it. However, so many people struggle to be present and actually experience their lives as they are. The culprits are varied and can include everything from unrealistic expectations to trying too hard to feel good. It is, after all, something you have to allow. When you're struggling, the most insulting and difficult thing that someone can tell you is to just relax or just enjoy yourself. When you're in survival mode, the last thing you can possibly think about is just sitting back and rolling with the punches. I can relate to this. This is the most important part of learning how to enjoy your life again. When you're in a place of trauma and pain, you can't try to force yourself to be happy. First, you have to step back into neutral. When you're struggling and you try to make yourself feel good, you're actually intensifying the polarity of your feelings. You should you are shoveling the bad feelings down in place of trying to feel something different. Ironically, many people who struggle emotionally at their core, people who are people who actually just have a greater desire to enjoy life. Hmm. Stop trying to be happy. Happiness is not something you can chase. It is something you have to allow. This likely this likely will come as a surprise to many people, as the world is so adamant about everything from positive psychology to motivational Pinterest boards. But happiness is not something you can coach yourself into. Happiness is your natural state. That means you will return to it on your own if you allow the other feelings you want to experience to come up. Be felt, be processed, and not resisted. The less you resist your unhappiness, the happier you'll be. It is often just trying too hard to feel one certain way that sets us up for failure. I've come up with this analogy, and it's like all of our worries and fears and doubts and, anxieties and all these things that tend to plague us one way or another at one time in our life or one part of the day more than the other. It's like they make a lot of noise, and they're kind of like these it's like you have a room that's with the lights off, and there's all these scary sounding monsters in the room, and you just don't want to turn the light on. But when you look at them, when you turn the light on in the room and acknowledge them, you see that they're just these furry little creatures that just want to be held and loved. And it's like when we're not looking, when we're not opening up to it, we're not sharing our heart and our light of awareness onto those challenging, emotions that we have, they just get bigger. But when we open up to them and give them our attention and hold them in our heart, a greater transformation can happen, and a wholeness and completeness, because it's often that we're not accepting those parts of ourselves, which is causing more pain, just like Brianna Wiest is saying here. There's a fine balance between living for the moment and taking care of your future self. Okay. Good morning, anyone who has come just now. Welcome. I have a cold, so I sound a little funny. The next book, Eckhart Tolle, A new earth, awakening to your life's purpose. Right action. The ego asks, how can I make the situation fulfill my needs? Or how can I get to some other situation that will fulfill my needs? Presence is a state of inner spaciousness. When you are present, you ask, how do I respond to the needs of this situation, of this moment? In fact, you don't even need to ask the question. You are still alert, open to what is. You bring a new dimension into the situation, space. Excuse the sniffling. Then you look and you listen. Thus you become one with the situation. When, instead of reacting against a situation, you merge with it, the solution arises out of the situation itself. Actually, it is not you, the person, who is looking and listening, but the alert stillness itself. Then, if action is possible or necessary, you take action, or rather, right action happens through you. Right action is action that is appropriate to the whole. When the action is accomplished, the alert, spacious stillness remains. There is nobody who raises his arm in gesture of triumph, shouting a defiant, yeah. There is no one who says, look, I did that. All creativity comes out of inner spaciousness. Once the creation has happened, something has come into form, you have to be vigilant so that the notion of me or mine does not arise. If you take credit for what you accomplish, the ego has returned and the spaciousness has become obscured. So potent. In my ebook, I talk about this as charm. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. I apologize for that. And it's necessary. Yeah, it's when we slow down and connect to our spacious presence, spacious awareness through meditation or whatever mode, whatever practice gets us there. We're connecting with the essence of life itself. And that life force has been evolving the planet and the cosmos for, an untold amount of time. When we tap into that vital life force, that vital energy, the true essence of our being, before all the stories, before the sense of me, my, I, we tap into that evolutionary intelligence that is always moving towards greater coherence, greater elegance. So Eckhart Tolle talks about it a little bit differently with the words he uses, but he's saying the same thing. Perceiving without naming. Most people are only peripherally aware of the world that surrounds them, especially if their surroundings are familiar. The voice in the head absorbs the greater part of their attention. I think it's like sometimes we don't even know the difference between who or what we are and that voice that's in our head. The voice becomes so loud that so predominant that we really just mistake it for who or what we are. Some people feel more alive when they travel and visit unfamiliar places or foreign countries because at those times, sense perception, experiencing, takes up more of their consciousness than thinking. They become more present. Others remain completely possessed by the voice in their head even then. Their perceptions and experiences are distorted by instant judgments. They haven't really gone anywhere. Only their body is traveling, while they remain where they have always been, in their head. This is most people's reality. As soon as something is perceived, it is named, interpreted, compared with something else, liked, disliked, good or bad. by the phantom. They are imprisoned in thoughts, in thought forms, in object consciousness. I mean, who can relate to this? If you can relate to this, maybe comment about that. You know, how easy it is to be caught up in what we're comparing to, you know, some previous time it was better, or I like this more, I disliked that, or, you know, call this good, call that bad. And then that just, you know, can really taint the whole experience, ruin it for ourselves and others, just being caught in these thoughts, in these preferences. You do not awaken spiritually until the compulsive and unconscious naming ceases, or at least you become aware of it and thus are able to observe it as it happens. It is through this constant naming that the ego remains in place as the unobserved mind. Whenever it ceases, and even when you just become aware of it, there is inner space, and you are not possessed by the mind anymore. Choose an object close to you, a pen, a chair, a cup, a plant, and explore it visually. That is to say, look at it with great interest, almost curiosity. Avoid any objects with strong personal associations that remind you of the past, such as where you bought it, who gave it to you, and so on. Also, avoid anything that has writing on it, such as a book or a bottle. It would stimulate thought. Without straining, relaxed but alert, give your complete attention to the object, every detail of it. If thoughts arise, don't get involved in them. It's not the thoughts you are interested in, but the act of perception itself. Can you take the thinking out of the perceiving? Can you look without the voice in your head commenting, drawing conclusions, comparing, or trying to figure something out? After a couple of minutes or so, let your gaze wander around the room or wherever you are, your alert attention lighting up each thing that it rests upon. Then, listen to any sounds that may be present. Listen to them in the same way as you looked at the things around you. Some sounds may be natural, water, wind, birds, while others are man-made. Some may be pleasant, others unpleasant. However, don't differentiate between good and bad. Allow each sound to be as it is, without interpretation. Here too, relaxed but alert attention is the key. When you look and listen in this way, you become aware of a subtle and first, perhaps hardly noticeable sense of calm. Some people feel it as a stillness in the background. Others call it peace. When consciousness is no longer totally absorbed by thinking, some of it remains in its formless, unconditioned, original state. This is inner space. This stuff is just so powerful. My goodness. This is, you know, in the meditation that I guide you guys through. This is the whole point of going through each of our senses. You know, you just observe the sense itself and not label any of the things that we're looking at or hearing or tasting or smelling or touching, just seeing it and allowing it to be as it is, not labeling it, naming it, attaching a story to it. Who is the experiencer? What you see and hear, taste, touch, and smell are, of course, sense objects. They are what you experience. But who is the subject, the experiencer? If you now say, for example, well, of course, I, Jane Smith, senior accountant, 45 years old, divorced, mother of two, American, becomes identified with the mental concept of Jane Smith, are all objects of experience, not the experiencing subject. You know, I wonder who has the mind to even hear this. Sometimes the mind, the ego, is grasping on so hard to our sense of who and what we think we are, that when we start to dig into it, this like sense of sleepiness, of tiredness, of disinterest comes up. It's only that ripe mind, the ripe heart, that's even ready to hear this to any degree. Every experience has three possible ingredients: sense perceptions, thoughts or mental images, and emotions. Jane Smith, senior accountant, 45 years old, mother of two, divorced, American. These are all thoughts and therefore part of what you experience the moment you think these thoughts. They are whatever else you can say and think about yourself are, sorry. They and whatever else you can say and think about yourself are objects, not the subject. They are experience, not the experiencer. You can add 1,000 more definitions, thoughts of who you are, and by doing so will certainly increase the complexity of your experience of yourself, as well as your psychiatrist's income. But in this way, you will not end up with the subject, the experiencer, who was prior to all experience, but without whom there would be no experience. So easy to overlook this. So easy to overlook this. Just getting caught up in all the objects of perception and all of our thoughts and all of our feelings and emotions and memories and imagination, and who or what it is that is the subject or is aware of it all, which is our true nature. Who is the experiencer? You are. And who are you? Consciousness. And what is consciousness? This question cannot be answered. The moment you answer it, you have falsified it, made it into another object. Consciousness, the traditional word for which is spirit, cannot be known in the normal sense of the word, and seeking it is futile. All knowing is within the realm of duality, subject and object, the known. The subject, the I, the knower, without which nothing could be known, perceived, thought, or felt, must remain forever unknowable. This is because the I has no form. Only forms can be known, and yet without the formless dimension, the world of form could not be. It is the luminous space in which the world arises and subsides. That space is the life that I am. It is timeless. I am timeless, eternal. What happens in that space is relative and temporary, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, birth and death. And this is like touching on the whole power of now, right? It's like everything happens in now, and now is that consciousness, the awareness, the beyond duality, but in which all the duality comes and goes, all the pleasure and pain, gain and loss, birth and death. The greatest impediment to the discovery of inner space, the greatest impediment to finding the experiencer, is to become so enthralled by the experience that you lose yourself in it. It means consciousness is lost in its own dream. You get taken in by every thought, every emotion, and every experience to such a degree that you are in fact in a dreamlike state. This has to be the normal state of humanity for thousands of years. That's right. This has been the normal state of humanity for thousands of years. Yeah, I mean, when we wake up, what happens is like we just start thinking about things immediately and all of our problems and the things we have to do and on and on and on. And just fabricating this false sense of self, which is useful to some degree, but when we invest so much into it, it's like we're being in the river of thoughts and emotions and memories and imagination and getting carried down the river, hitting rocks, thrown off waterfalls. But when we can drop into spacious awareness, into the heart space, deeper feeling, the sense of I am, of beingness, we begin to see the thoughts and emotions, and then and the memories and the imaginations, a bit of a space, like watching the river, and you're no longer so carried away and affected by these things. Although you cannot know consciousness, you can become conscious of it as yourself. You can sense it directly in any situation, no matter where you are. You can sense it here and now as your very presence, the inner space in which the words on the page are perceived and become thoughts. It is the underlying I am. The words you are reading and thinking are the foreground, and the I am is the substratum, the underlying background to every experience, thought, and feeling. So if you're familiar with Advaita Vedanta or non-dualism, some meditation schools, they'll talk often about the I am. So the I am is the most essential sense of self. If I was to ask you, do you exist? You can ask yourself, do you exist? Well, yes, I exist. How do you know? Well, I am. I do exist. I am here. I am. So there's this sense of beingness, this most fundamental part of us that just knows it's here, that I am. And Eckhart Tolle is talking about this as being like the hallmark or the most subtle perfume of consciousness, of awareness itself, is this sense I am. And many great teachers will say, if you sit with that sense of beingness, don't waver, don't stray. And if you do waver and stray, just come back to it, observe it, and drop into the sense of being, of knowing that you are, that you exist, that I am. This is the gateway. This is the great entry point into what some might call enlightenment or knowing thyself. Okay. Third book. This one, sometimes I find a little bit challenging to read. It was translated, I think, from Bengali way back in the day, and there's a lot of typos, but it's still an incredible book. It's called I Am That, Talks with Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj. And this is the discourse between the questioner and Maharaj, or Sri Nisargadatta. So, questioner, the immutable, does it die? Maharaj, it is the changing that dies. The immutable neither lives nor dies. It is the timeless witness of life and death. You cannot call it dead, for it is aware. Nor can you call it alive, for it does not change. It is just like your tape recorder. It records, it reproduces all by itself. You only listen. Similarly, I watch all that happens, including my talking to you. It is not me who talks. The words appear in my mind, and then I hear them said. So Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj was like known to be a very, very advanced soul. Questioner, is it not the case with everybody? Maharaj, who said no? But you insist that you think, you speak, while to me there's thinking, there's speaking. So you can see the difference here. The questioner is so identified with their thoughts and with their emotions and with what's happening in their life. Whereas for this avadhut, or this liberated soul, it's a different perspective. Questioner, there are two cases to consider. Either I have found a guru or I have not. In each case, what is the right thing to do? Maharaj, you are never without a guru, for he is present in your heart. Sometimes he externalizes himself and comes to you as an uplifting and reforming factor in your life, a mother, a wife, a teacher, or he remains as an inner urge towards righteousness and perfection. All you have to do is to obey him and do what he tells you. And what he wants you to do is simple. Learn self-awareness, self-control, self-surrender. Easy peasy, right? It may seem arduous, but it is easy if you are earnest, and quite impossible if you are not. Earnestness is both necessary and sufficient. Everything yields to earnestness. Yeah, the Santa Maharaj says this so many times that it's our earnestness and being steadfast and just being authentically yearning to know who and what we are, which is really what, allows us to awaken, to be liberated, and to know ourselves truly. Questioner, what makes one earnest? Maharaj, compassion is the foundation of earnestness. Compassion for yourself and others, born of suffering, your own and of others. Compassion is the foundation of earnestness. Compassion for yourself and others, born of suffering, your own and of others. It's like the Four Noble Truths, there is suffering, or life is suffering, or why is there suffering? If we have that initial yearning to know why and to find a way through it or freedom from it, there is that earnestness that arises. Questioner, must I suffer to be earnest? Maharaj, you need not. If you are sensitive and respond to the sorrows of others, as Buddha did, if you are callous and without pity, your own suffering will make you ask the inevitable questions. Questioner, I find myself suffering, but not enough. Life is unpleasant, but bearable. My little pleasures compensate me for my small pains, and on the whole, I am better off than most of the people I know. I know that my condition is precarious, that a calamity might overtake me any moment. Must I wait for a crisis to put me on my way to truth? Most of the time, yes. Not all the time, but most of the time. Most of us aren't willing to do anything different until there's a great moment of pain or change or a loss. Just kind of the way it is. Maharaj, the moment you have seen how fragile is your condition, you are already alert. Now, keep alert. Give attention, inquire, investigate. Discover your mistakes of mind and body and abandon them. So many of us go through so much pain and suffering, and still we keep doing the same stuff that keeps us in this pain and suffering. And I've often questioned, what is it that really makes us turn the page and take a new direction? And often the word that has come up is grace. And I know this might sound hokey pokey to some people, what is grace? But it really seems to be true. And then, it came into my mind the other day, just, the fire of grace. The fire of grace. So, questioner, where is the energy to come from? I am like a paralyzed man in a burning house. Maharaj, even paralyzed people sometimes find their legs in moments of danger. But you are not paralyzed. You merely imagine so. Make the first step and you will be on your way. Questioner, I feel that my hold on the body is so strong that I just cannot give up the idea that I am the body. It will cling to me as long as the body lasts. There are people who maintain that no real life, and I feel inclined to agree with them. Maharaj, before you agree or disagree, why not investigate the very idea of a body? Does the mind appear in the body, or does the body in the mind? Surely there must be a mind to conceive the I am the body idea. A body without a mind cannot be my body. My body is invariably absent when the mind is in abeyance. It is also absent when the mind is deeply engaged in thoughts and feelings. Once you realize that the body depends on the mind, and the mind on consciousness, and consciousness on awareness, and not the other way around, your question about waiting for self-realization till you die is answered. It is not that you must be free from the I am the body idea first, and then realize the self. It is definitely the other way around. You cling to the false because you do not know the true. Earnestness, not perfection, is a precondition to self-realization. Virtues and powers come with realization and not before. And that's Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj right there. Quite an interesting character. Okay, time for sitting, or what some might call meditation. But I find the word meditation to be so loaded that I prefer to call it sitting. Okay. So find a nice seated posture, ideally seated. Sleeping happens when you lie down. So sleep, that's okay too. Begin by taking 9 full deep breaths, the count of 3 in and the count of 6 out. So we're breathing out twice as long as our inhales, and this allows the parasympathetic nervous system to relax the body. So breathing 9 full breaths, the count of inhale, and the count of 6 on the exhale. And you can follow your breath with your thumb to your fingers so that you can count each breath and not lose count. Allow each breath to be enjoyed like sipping on cool water on a hot day, letting the breath give us everything we need, and each exhale, letting go and just surrendering a little bit more, being a little bit more comfortable in the body. And when you finish your 9 breaths, just relax the breathing. Begin to scan the body from the tips of the toes to the top of the head. And excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose again. And when the mind comes in and starts to distract us from our practice, it's not really a distraction if we become aware of it. If we become aware of the thought, of the emotion, of the memory, of the imagination, and just see it as that, as another cloud passing, and then bring back your awareness, your attention, your focus onto the task at hand, which is the meditation, the sitting, the practice. So bringing the awareness to the right foot, scanning each toe of the right foot, bringing your awareness to each toe. Where your mind focuses, the energy goes. Bringing your awareness to the foot, the top of the foot, the bottom, the sides, heel, ankle, through the calf, shin, up through the knee, the upper leg, the hip, pelvis, and then bringing your attention to the left foot, each toe, bringing your awareness to each toe, to the foot, wrapping your awareness around the ankle, around the shin, calf muscles, around the knee, upper leg, to the hip, the pelvis. And then bringing your awareness up the spine, gently around your torso, whole back, the sides, the stomach, the whole front of the body. Not needing it to be any specific way, just bringing your awareness there and noticing the subtle sensation that is present. Bringing awareness to the shoulder, the right shoulder, wrapping your awareness down around your arm, past the elbow, forearm, into the hand and each finger, and then to the left arm, starting in the shoulder, wrapping your awareness, noticing all the subtle sensations on the arm, down past the elbow, the forearm, wrist, hands, each finger. And then becoming aware of the sensations on the back of the neck, sides of the neck, front of the neck. And then draw your awareness up, back of the head, wrapping around, noticing the ears, the sides of your head, your chin, lips, cheeks, nose, noticing the eyes, your eyebrows, your forehead, the top of the head. And now bringing your awareness into the whole body, allowing it just to be as it is, just noticing it, being very present with it. And at this point, allowing your breath to flow naturally, allowing your breath to nurture the body, allowing the body to rest as it is. Not falling asleep, staying very alert, very aware, not forceful. And now bringing your awareness to the sense of taste. What is the sense of taste itself? Not what you are tasting specifically, but the sensation of taste. Notice that when you fully focus on any one of the senses, all of the other senses can seem to drop away for a moment, or at least partially drop away. Just like when you're absorbed in any specific thought, all the sensations of the body might drop away. Or if you're really wrapped up in an emotion, your ability to think clearly might drop away. So just notice the sensation itself. Notice the sense of taste, allowing it to be as it is. While breathing naturally, sitting quite comfortably, bringing your awareness to the sense of smell. Noticing that on the inhale, it's a bit cooler around your nostrils, and on the exhale, it's a little bit warmer. Just allowing it to be as it is. Noticing the sense of smell without judging it, without needing it to be any specific way. Just noticing that world of the sense of smell. And now, whether your eyes are open or closed, bring your attention to the sensation of seeing. The entire world of seeing. It's like a world unto itself. Each of the senses, when you bring all of your attention to them, become a whole world unto itself. And now, noticing the sense of sight, not judging it, not calling it anything specific, just fully aware of the sense of sight. Any thoughts come, any judgments come, let them arise and let them pass. Just like clouds passing in the sky, so too imagination, memory, preferences come and go in the sky of spacious awareness that is your true nature. Now bring your awareness to the sense of hearing. Noticing any sounds you might hear, organic or inorganic, the sound of wind or rain, or the sounds of the furnace or the fridge maybe, or other people, or whatever it is you hear. And just notice the sensation of hearing itself. See if you can let go of the labeling or the preference to sound, but just notice sound. Just notice the ability to hear. Notice that when you bring your full awareness into the realm of hearing, it becomes an entire world. When we bring our attention, our focus, concentration into any of the senses, it truly amplifies them and they become a whole world. But the power here lies not within the sense, but the ability to direct our consciousness into each of the senses. It is the consciousness itself that holds the power. The power to perceive life through the senses. Noticing any preferences that might arise, thoughts that might come and go in the form of memories, imagination. And notice that you can be aware of even your sense of personality. your personal reality based on your conditioned mind of your past experiences that create certain ways of thinking and certain emotional patterning, all of which you can be aware of. With a spacious presence, spacious awareness, we're able to see the thoughts, see the emotions, the memories, the imagination. We can watch it all arise, last some amount of time, and pass. All of this arising and passing within the purview of awareness, of consciousness. Anything you can think of, anything you can see, any tendency to want something to be different, or to want this or that, or to dislike something, it's all witnessed. It's all seen through this lens of consciousness. Any anxiety, any depression, any craving, any aversion, all seen through the power of consciousness itself. And this is what is known as resting in the heart. The heart holds space for all that is. The consciousness can see and bear all things and is the embodiment of unconditional love. Holding all the joy and all the sorrow, allowing it to be as it is, without cutting any limbs off the tree. Don't cut branches off the tree, just allow it to be as it is. All the sensations in the body, all the memories, the thoughts, the preferences, your unique configuration that is your name, your body, your relationships, all these things are your unique way that consciousness, the oneness, shows up and manifests into the world. You do not have a life. You are life itself. This most essential, fundamental aspect of your beingness, your awareness, your consciousness, is tapping into life itself, the most fundamental aspect of life itself. That in which all emerges from this space. All intelligence, all evolution comes out of this wellspring of the true self. And when your identity starts to shift from the small me and my, all the myopic ways of being, to this big I of consciousness, awareness, unconditional love, you start to become interested in different aspects of life. You become charmed by different things. When you're not so myopic and so narrow-minded, what attracts you becomes that which is really truly answering the need of the time. Much more open, much more available, much more present. And when there's nothing to be done, you can just rest into this spacious awareness, not drifting off into sleep, trancing out, and all the senses, all the mind's activities, allowing it all to be as it is. But through the purview of the big self, the big I. Now, like how the sun shines on all things indiscriminately, you bring a subtle smile to the face. And like this awareness that shines on all aspects of our life, we can shine our smile and our awareness on every thought, every emotion, every memory. As like Ram Dass would say, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. And share that loving smile with your entire body, smiling gently at your whole body, scanning your body and just smiling gently. If you're sick, smiling at the sickness. If you're healthy, smiling at the healthiness. Smiling at the pain, smiling at the joy. I am loving awareness. Smiling at the room you're in, the building you're in, the town, the city, the country. Smiling at the world. I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. Smiling at the solar system, at the whole cosmos. All of this is in the purview of spacious, loving awareness. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच हे भी सच नानक होसी भी सच. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace to all. Thank you for joining the meditation, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I will be back again on next Tuesday, and I might be doing some evening streams too. But for now, just Tuesday and Thursday morning. Don't forget to download my free audiobook, Following Your Charm, 30 Days of Intuitive Guidance, and join the Facebook community and share your experiences, what you're journaling there daily. And yeah, thank you very much.